Very good morning. We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Israel appreciates United States' position in UN Security Council. PM Netanyahu asserts Israel will continue its war to eliminate Hamas. World Health Organization to hold special session today on the health situation in Gaza and the West Bank, with Palestine seeking more medical aid and access for foreign healthcare workers. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar speaks to Palestinian Prime Minister, reiterates India's long-standing position on Palestine. At COP28, participating nations push for stronger commitment on phasing out fossils. And in sports, the first ever Khelo India Para Games to begin in New Delhi on Sunday. Over 1,400 athletes to be part of 8 days sporting extravaganza. Now news in detail. As Israel-Hamas conflict continues, Israel has ordered residents to evacuate the center of Gaza's main southern city, Khan Yunis, on Saturday, as it has expanded its ground operations in Gaza to combat Hamas. The move comes after the United States wielded its UN Security Council veto to shield its ally from a demand for a ceasefire. Since the truce collapsed last week, both sides have reported a surge in fighting in the north. While Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed the United States veto at the UN Security Council.
I greatly appreciate the correct stance that the US has taken in the United Nations Security Council. The other countries need to understand that on the one hand, it is impossible to support the elimination of Hamas, while on the other hand, calling for a halt to the war which will prevent the elimination of Hamas. Therefore, Israel will continue our just war to eliminate Hamas and achieve the other goals of the war that we have set out.
Now, Israel's military chief also said that Israeli troops must increase pressure on Hamas as the system is showing signs of falling apart.
I see the achievements from day to day. We are seeing every day terrorists who are killed, also terrorists who are injured. In the last days, we see terrorists who are surrendering. A sign of the collapse of the system, a sign that we need to press harder. And this is what you are doing.
Now, thousands rallied in Tel Aviv on Saturday calling for the release of hostages held in Gaza. Earlier, around 100 hostages were released by Hamas in exchange for prisoners under a 7-day truce. And the World Health Organization will hold a special session today to discuss the health situation in Gaza and the West Bank, with the Palestinian envoy seeking more medical aid and access for foreign healthcare workers. The UN Health Agency said it had received a request from 15 countries to hold the session. The session is being convened by Director General Tedros Adhanom in consultation with the Qatari chair. Meanwhile, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke to Palestinian Prime Minister on Saturday. Dr. S. Jaishankar took to his social media account and spoke to Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammad Shateh this evening. He expressed deep concern on the situation in both Gaza and the West Bank, reiterated India's long-standing position on Palestine, agreed to remain in touch, unquote. At the ongoing United Nations climate talks in Dubai, COP28 President Sultan Al Jaber told participating nations to speed up their work to find a final deal, saying there were currently more areas of divergence than agreement. Saudi Arabia and Russia were among several countries insisting that the conference focus only on reducing climate change and not on targeting the fossil fuels causing it. according to observers in the negotiations. On the other side, at least 80 countries, including the United States, the European Union, and many poor climate vulnerable nations, are demanding that a COP28 deal call clearly for an eventual end to fossil fuel use.
There is some positive movement at the political level, and we need to channel that energy into speeding up the technical work. That said, there are still more areas of divergence than agreement. The window is closing to close the gaps. We are making progress, but not fast enough and not satisfying enough. My message to parties this evening is very simple. Work faster, work smarter, work harder.
Island nations participating at COP28 called for stronger commitment to fossil fuel phase-out and renewable energy. Under the 2015 Paris Agreement on climate change mitigation, countries aim to limit the rise in global temperatures to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The threshold, scientists say, would head off the worst impacts of warming. To meet that goal, scientists say the world needs to cut global emissions in half by 2030 and to net zero by 2050.
We will not go silently to our watery graves. Therefore, we cannot and will not accept an outcome from the COP that does not set us on a course for a future that stays within 1.5 temperature.
China's top climate diplomats said that a final agreement on fossil fuels at the United Nations COP28 summit was crucial, even if not perfect, but he declined to say whether the country could agree to eliminating coal, oil and gas entirely. The Chinese climate envoy Xi Zhenhua told reporters in a briefing that without the fossil fuels agreement, there was not much chance of success at COP28.
China is currently exchanging views with each country and group. We hope we can find a clear and correct future direction, and as a result that reflects positive energy and also reflects the maximum amount of tolerance and enables everyone to accept even if they are not fully satisfied.
And the protesters marching under various causes rallied at the UN Climate Summit in Dubai, highlighting issues ranging from Israel-Hamas conflict to indigenous rights and climate justice. As a condition of hosting COP28, the UAE agreed to allow protests to take place there under UN guidelines that require any demonstrations to be approved in advance and limited to the summit site. Protests have taken place within the summit blue zone area, which is under UN control and where local laws do not apply. Climate change activists turned Venice Grand Canal's water green as a motion to protest against the alarming lack of action against climate crisis at COP28 conference in Dubai, holding banners against the government's policies on climate change. The protesters dumped fluorescent organic dyeing compound into the famous Grand Canal, coloring the water body into green as an act to awake the government to take the needful actions. The Philippines has accused the Chinese Coast Guard of using water cannon to obstruct 3 government boats that were conducting their regular resupply mission near a reef off its coast in the South China Sea. The incident took place near the China-controlled Scarborough Shoal, a flashpoint between Manila and Beijing, which claims almost the entirety of the South China Sea. Video shared by the Philippine Coast Guard showed Chinese Coast Guard vessels firing water cannon at the Philippines Fisheries Bureau boats. China said earlier that it took control measures against 3 Philippine fishing vessels in the South China Sea that had intruded into waters. Now, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro and Guyana President Mohamed Irfan Ali will meet on December 14th amid a border dispute over the Essequibo region, according to a letter from the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The announcement of the bilateral meeting came after Maduro spoke with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ralph Gonsalves, on Saturday. Venezuela's government said the meeting is in order to preserve its aspiration to maintain Latin America and the Caribbean as a zone of peace. The office of the President of Guyana confirmed President Ali had agreed to the meeting but added Guyana's land boundary is not up for discussion. Now, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva on Saturday have urged Venezuela to avoid inflaming territory dispute with Guyana. In a phone call from Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro to Lula, the Brazilian president called for dialogue, stating that it was important to avoid unilateral measures that could escalate the situation. Lula da Silva also suggested that the pro-tempore president of the Community of Latin American and the Caribbean States, Ralph Gonsalves, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, should address the issue. Lula reiterated that Brazil is ready to support and follow dialogue initiatives, reinforcing a joint declaration by South American countries that was released earlier this week. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is on a visit to Argentina to attend the inauguration of new Argentine President Javier Milei. This is his first trip to Latin America. Zelensky's trip will focus on Ukraine's long-standing bid to secure the support of countries in the global south. The Ukrainian president visited Cape Verde and met Prime Minister Jose Ulises Correa Silva en route to Argentina and thanked him for condemning Russian aggression and supporting Ukrainian initiatives. Kiev is now trying to build ties with African, Asian and Latin American countries and hope to win Global South support. All right, now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Vatican lit up its famed Christmas tree in St. Peter's Square and unveiled this year's nativity scene on Saturday, inspired by the first living nativity scene created 800 years ago by St. Francis in 1223. The 28-meter-tall spruce was decorated with edelweiss in a white mountain flower native to the Alps. A blue and yellow macaw joined two military police officers on a motorcycle ride as they patrolled the city of Miracama do Tocantins in Brazil. Blue and yellow macaws are native to the Amazon region in South America. Flowers were put at Ryan O'Neal's Hollywood Walk of Fame star, the 1970s Hollywood heartthrob, hours after the love story actor died on Friday at the age of 82. His death was announced by son Patrick O'Neal in an Instagram post. No cause of death was given. Nigeria's Dangote oil refinery received its first cargo of 1 million barrels of crude oil from Shell International Trading and Shipping Company, starting the operations after years of delays. This will kickstart output of diesel, aviation fuel and LPG before the refinery later starts producing premium motor spirit. And University of Pennsylvania President Liz McGill put in her resignation on Saturday following an outcry against her stance on anti-Semitism. McGill, along with two other presidents, was criticized by the school's Jewish communities for the handling of clashes between pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian demonstrations. McGill will stay until an interim president is appointed. All right, we'll slip into a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. The summit of Economic Community of West African States in crisis after a series of recent military coups will take place on December 10th in Abuja. Multiple deaths flatten homes after apparent tornado outbreak in Middle Tennessee. An Indian men's cricket team start its South African tour with a 3-match T20I series. First T20 to take place on Sunday at Durban.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Leaders of the Economic Community of West African states will convene in Abuja, Nigeria, to address the recent coups in Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau and Niger. The region grapples with insecurity and conflicts in the Sahel. 4 members, including Mali and Burkina Faso, are suspended over military coups and will not participate in this summit. DD India's correspondent in Abuja, Ajak Mangut, reports more on the proceedings.
ECOWAS leaders last met in an extraordinary summit in August after a July 26 coup in Niger that overthrew the government of Mohamed Bazoum. The regional bloc threatened military intervention as a last resort to restore Bazoum and imposed heavy economic sanctions on the country. It activated a standby force as a last resort while exploring dialogue to restore President Mohamed Bazoum. But the military junta has said it may need up to 3 years for a transition to civilian rule, a move rejected by ECOWAS. Since then, there have been 2 attempts to seize power in Sierra Leone and Guinea-Bissau. The U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Molly Fee, is expected to hold talks with ECOWAS leaders on how the United States can best support regional efforts to return Niger to a democratic path and to promote security, stability, prosperity and democracy in the Sahel. ECOWAS ministers met ahead of the summit to discuss the region's initiatives to combat money laundering and the importance of upholding democratic governance. Ensuring transition to civilian rule in the 4 countries of the region that are currently under military rule could top the agenda. The West African region has recorded more than 7 coups and attempted coups since 2020. Other areas of concern for the bloc is the worsening humanitarian situation in the region due to terrorism, climate change, boosting regional integration, among others. Ajak Mangut in Abuja, reporting for DD India.
Destroyed homes and debris were left in the wake of a tornado that struck North Tennessee's border on Saturday. Many people have been injured due to the havoc. Officials are actively searching homes for the people who may be trapped or injured. The officials have urged the residents to stay off the roads as extensive damage is assessed for risks. And Southeast Australia swelters through heat wave, with authorities urging the public to stay safe. The scorching heat wave have again raised the risk of bushfires and have led the authorities to put a ban on fires in large parts of New South Wales state. The nation's weather forecaster predicted a maximum temperature in Sydney of reaching up to 40 degrees Celsius. That is almost 15 degrees warmer than the average December high for the city. And the 69th National Conference of Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad held at New Delhi is a unique conclave planned in a tent city for the students from India and abroad. DD India correspondent Kriti Vadhera reports.
In its 75th Amrit Mahotsav year, 69th National Conference of ABVP has set historical benchmark of making a tent city in heart of Delhi to accommodate more than 10,000 delegates coming from India and abroad.
It feels very pleasure to be here, as a guest to witness the largest student organization of the world, and it feels with great pleasure. And we wish all the best to the ABP for this grand international conference, grand national conference.
ABVP believes that students are not the citizens of tomorrow, but they are citizens of today. Therefore, they have a participatory role to play in growth of their nation in all aspects of life. Delegates from Kashmir in north to Telangana in south and Rajasthan in west to Manipur in east are part of this conclave. Thousands of students and student union leaders marched on in university campus with their traditional attires, singing folk songs and sloganizing patriotic slogans with a belief that students' power is a nation's power.
We have been working since months for this conference, and it has turned immense in a very grandeur scale, and we are very happy and motivated and also encouraged to see huge number of participation across the Bharat.
Delegates from all the 7 sister states of Northeast present here in conference. It's meant us a good experience here in this conference.
This conclave is one of its kind, showcasing India's rich educational legacy. The beautiful exhibition of artworks, several sculptures and artifacts are major attraction of this conference, depicting the journey of Vedic to modern Bharat. Thousands of students from all across the nation have gathered here with the same ideology, which is of nation first. This youth conclave appears to be the perfect portrayal of the mini Bharat. With camera person Manmohan, I am Kriti Vadhera reporting from New Delhi for DD India.
Ayodhya, a city of Indian state, Uttar Pradesh, joins Indian PM Modi's Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra. Vans of Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra reaches Sant Ravidas Temple complex of Ayodhya. The locals were guided various government schemes. The citizens of Ayodhya lauded the initiative and said how this drive of Indian government will help provide facilities to all the needy through Indian PM Modi's guaranteed vehicle, with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's motive to make the country self-reliant and more powerful. All right, sports updates now. We'll start with Khelo India Para Games. The eagerly anticipated inaugural edition of Khelo India Para Games is slated to kick off from 10th of December in Delhi. The event is set to witness a historic inauguration by Union Home Minister of India Amit Shah on December 11th, highlighting the government's commitment to promoting para sports on a national scale.
Get ready for a game-changing moment in Indian sports. The first ever Khelo India Para Games are set to take place from December 10th to 17th in Delhi. Union Home Minister Amit Shah will inaugurate the event on 11th of December at the IG Stadium in Delhi, showcasing government's commitment to inclusivity in sports. Over 1,400 participants from across 32 states and union territories, including Services Sports Control Board, are expected to participate in the maiden Khelo India Para Games. Para-athletes will vie for honours in 7 disciplines, including para-athletics, para-shooting, para-archery, para-football, para-badminton, para-table tennis and para-weightlifting. The events will be held across 3 Sports Authority of India stadiums: the IG Stadium, Shooting Range in Tughlakabad and the JLN Stadium. The Khelo India Para Games promise to be a game changer for para sports in India. The event is a major step towards making sports more inclusive and diverse.
Continuity of the Para Games and creating more development in the Para-Olympic sports remains our foremost agenda. The first ever Khelo India Para Games is another big step towards the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. The Khelo India scheme has remained a game changer for Indian sports. The Khelo India Games have played a pivotal role in the scheme. I wish all the participants of the Khelo India Para Games all the very best.
We are very happy that now my new India is becoming inclusive India. I thank the vision of Honorable Modi ji and the Sports Ministry, also the Sports Authority of India, for coming together and making this platform and making India inclusive when it comes to sports.
This initiative follows Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mention of the Khelo India Para Games at the International Olympic Committee's session in Mumbai just 2 months ago. The addition of para sports to the Khelo India series fills a gap that existed despite hosting 11 successful Khelo India Games since 2018.
ये एक सबसे बड़ा अपॉर्चुनिटी है पैरा एथलीटों के लिए कि उनको पैरा खेलो इंडिया गेम्स के जरिए उनको प्रमोट किया जा रहा है और इस साथ ही साथ जो यंगस्टर है उनको भी अच्छा मौका है अपने आप को रिप्रेजेंट करने का। जो रूरल एरिया के खिलाड़ी उनके लिए बहुत बेनिफिट रहेगा इसके लिए, और जो यंग खिलाड़ी हैं और आने वाले हमारे देश के लिए जो ये स्पोर्ट्स है खेलो इंडिया स्कीम्स है इसके लिए बहुत ही बेनिफिट रहेगा। और मैं मानता हूं कि जैसे एबल बॉडी को सपोर्ट मिल रहा है उसके साथ साथ पैरा स्पोर्ट्स को भी सपोर्ट मिल रहा है।
As the excitement builds for the opening ceremony on December 11th, the Khelo India Para Games are poised to make a lasting impact on Indian sports, embracing a new era of inclusivity and excellence. Narayan Singh's report for DD India, Delhi.
And fresh off a 4-1 series triumph at home, the Indian men's cricket team will be on the road to face South Africa in a 3-match T20I series starting Sunday. Indian batter Surya Kumar Yadav will continue to lead the side, which will be bolstered by the addition of Ravindra Jadeja. The T20 series will be followed by a 3-match ODI series and 2-match Test series. Alright, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.